One, and we are recording with my brother from another mother, Dr. Alex Diaz. Dr. Diaz, please introduce yourself, sir.
Tommy, it's a pleasure being with you. Like always, I'm Dr. Alejandro Diaz. I'm a pediatric allergist, immunologist, global health specialist, immigration doctor, and I am the delegate of the World Organization for Peace in the border between Mexico and the United States. And your brother.
Yes, and my brother. That's the most recent thing on your resume. I was gonna say, what was it we were talking about last time? Was it herpes or hepatitis? Adolescent
Basically,
outbreaks?
what we talked the last our last meeting was about hepatitis of unknown origin in children.
Yeah. Is there
And
any
it's still
development in that?
growing like monkeypox. Now we have an outbreak in the U.S. southern Florida of meningococcal, and it's after what happened with this lockdowns, masks, excessive hygiene, vaccines, and so on and so forth. Sometimes people don't realize, and even doctors, physicians, they don't realize that we have weakened our immune system. So we're living in this bubble, and our immune system is not challenged like a sparring round of box. So we're not ready for the real fight. That's why boxers spar, because they are training for the real fight. And this is how the immune system works. Unfortunately, we've been for 29 months, lockdowns, hyper hygiene, everybody's washing their hands, double mask, triple masks, vaccines, one booster, two boosters, three boosters, and our immune system has been depressed. This is the reason why we're starting to see this kind of what we call emergent infections like monkeypox, obviously hepatitis that we discussed on our previous meeting, meningococcal. We're starting to see, more cases of tuberculosis. So there's so many things coming, and then as an immunologist, I see I'm at my clinic right now, and I see a bunch of patients with different viruses that we don't see it that often, but only after the pandemic, because our immune system, there are what we call opportunistic infections.
Mhm.
These are either bacteria, viruses, fungi, and others that they're just waiting for something to happen to drop your guard. That's the immune system, and then they show up. They will flourish, and we're seeing a lot of patients like that.
So it's kind of like a strong immune system's kind of like me during the work week. Like I get up, first thing I do, put on workout clothes, I make my bed, do the dishes, put away the laundry, really kind of pick up any whatever's just laying around, put everything in place, and then I go to the gym, come back, podcast, go to bed. Now, if at the end of the week, I decide to play video games with friends and we get shit faced, I wake up the next day, there's crap everywhere. The shower curtains half open. I got clothes on the floor. Dishes are here. There's pizza boxes everywhere. And I'm probably not going to clean it up today. So then 2 days later, maybe there are ants. And I never have ants. But now all of a sudden, because I'm kind of in a weakened state, everything's kind of, you see it seeping in. And then you slap yourself up, clean everything, open the windows, getting some fresh air and all that stuff. But so that's what it is you're seeing these opportunistic things that normally are held at bay.
That's exactly how it is, and it's a perfect example. You put it perfectly. So it's exactly what we have right now, and we're starting to see all this viruses like from the family of herpes virus, and many other, and autoimmune diseases and things along that line, and people is suffering. Plus the capability of this engineered virus, which is the SARS-CoV-2, that it was so well designed that we're starting to see a lot of autoimmune diseases. And
Mhm.
this long and prolonged COVID, people they're have a foggy brain, tired all the time, weekend. They have complications with respiratory illnesses like asthma and different things. This is it's been a challenge for healthcare, healthcare experts and doctors and so on. It's been very difficult. We've been dealing with different things and that we haven't seen before. I've been a doctor for a little bit over 31 years, and I haven't seen anything like this. And as you know, Tommy, I work for as a panel physician doing immigration work for 5 different countries. And I thought that I have seen all, but this is something totally new. It's a new chapter, actually.
So do you think, because I fully believe it was engineered, do you think like the initial like respiratory illnesses we saw in 2020, 2021, do you think that was just the first phase? Do you think that there's something engineered that there's going to be a whole nother wave of things years down the road? Like you said, autoimmune diseases. Is that
Oh,
what you meant
definitely. Definitely. We're starting to see a lot of neurological problems. A lot,
from
a
COVID?
lot. Neurological problems, immune problems, skin problems, GI, gastrointestinal problems. So all this catalog and cascade of events that we're seeing in clinic, it's incredible. It's incredible. And plus the additional the push of the vaccine. Oh my God, everything it's coming like a cascade of events. And people can only hold for just for a little bit, not too much. So this is a huge burden when it comes to health for every individual.
Could you maybe for me, is monkeypox one of those opportunistic diseases? Because I
Definitely.
had literally never heard of it in my life. I'd always heard of chickenpox, monkeypox. That to me, at first, I thought it was like a joke. Is that something that's just always at the periphery?
Well, it's an interesting question. Monkeypox, the first case of monkeypox was discovered in Denmark in 1958, and it was discovered in monkeys of study in a Danish lab. The first human case of monkeypox was discovered in the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa and Central Africa in the children. I was 52 years ago, and there are 11 countries in central and occidental area of Africa where they have constant outbreaks. It's endemic, what we call endemic. So it's part of that area. But we have seen monkeypox outside of those 11 countries. Just to name a few: Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, the south part of Sudan, which is one of the largest countries in Central Africa, Laos, obviously, Tanzania, and countries along Nigeria. And actually, in 2003, we had an outbreak in the U.S. It was important mammals and rats and rodents that they imported from Texas to Texas. I believe it was in Dallas, and it infected 43 persons, specifically in the Midwest area. No one died, but you get this full-blown of manifestations of the disease, which is mostly like a common cold or a flu-like syndrome, but with blisters on the face, on the palms of the hands, on the chest and soles. Yeah, so it's a blistering disease, and it's been around for 52 years. So, but this is, it's there. It's part of the same family of smallpox. So it's a DNA virus, double strained. It's part of the pox virus family, and it's smallpox, monkeypox, and what we call molluscus contagious, which is a disease that pediatricians we see kind of common, but obviously the most devastating out of those three diseases is smallpox. That it has been eradicated from the face of the earth, and it was declared by the WHO back in 1980. The last case in the United States was, if I remember correctly, was 1946. In Mexico was in 1951. And the last case was in Somalia in 1977. By the end of that decade, in the beginning of the following decade, which was 1980, the WHO officially subscribed that it was completely eradicated from the face of the earth. So, but you know, there are some studies that there are some countries, including the U.S., that they are being stockpiling some smallpox vaccines. And why? Because we're starting to see all this emergent diseases, and you know, people who understands a little bit about bioterrorism, they know that one devastating disease who can affect and kill a lot of people, because the killing or the death rate of smallpox, it's a little bit over 38%. So it's a deadly disease. This is why I think that, you know, some countries are trying to gather and stockpiling more smallpox vaccines because of the potential threat of bioterrorism.
Doesn't smallpox exist in the CDC in Atlanta, and then whatever the Russian equivalent is in Moscow?
That is correct. That is correct.
Not completely gone.
Yeah, it's they have, you know, they have the freezing,
it's
the freezing virus, and you know, those are the only laboratories permitted to have it on stock. But it's, you know, it's a deadly virus. But we have more viruses, like Ebola, Marburg, bacteria like anthrax, and so on and so forth. So, you know, bioterrorism is something that it's a constant threat. And then if we're living this new era of a weakened immune system after we just lived for 29 months, you know, it's something that we really need to look for and to be prepared for whatever can happen.
Well, I mean, but especially with, you know, just the advent of molecular biology and manipulating biology and CRISPR, it kind of seems like we're back at that I don't know, that like 1950s fear of nuclear Armageddon, where all of a sudden, right, we were so safe during World War II because we had the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. We'd see the bombers coming hours away. They weren't supersonic. And then all of a sudden, we have nuclear warheads and they're put on top of missiles. So instead of bombs dropped from planes, we now had nuclear warheads on top of missiles. And so it's just this whole fear of mutual assured destruction. You know, the Soviets are hiding under the bed, like they're going to come get you. And we're always on the brink for whatever, 1940, you could say 1949 to 80 or to 91 is the Cold War. And we don't really see that as much as a worry anymore, because it's like the whole world has nuclear weapons and everyone has them pointed at each other. So it almost kind of cancels out because no one would do it. It seems like biological warfare, in my humble opinion, it seems like that's kind of making a return as this, because how else do you take on something like America or China or Russia? These huge machines with these massive industrial bases, and they crank out tanks and ships and planes and missiles and satellites. And it's what General Shiro Ishii of Unit 731 in Manchuria said in World War II. He said, America is a machine society. They can pump out planes and Liberty ships and tanks like no other. It takes 18 years to grow a soldier. And that was their idea, was to attack the soldier. And yeah, Marburg, Ebola, smallpox, plague. COVID seems like a relatively, like we got off easy almost. If it was a bioweapon, and I do believe it was, we got off relatively easily. Who knows what's coming next? And there's no, like nuclear weapons, there's almost no way to defend against it. You just got to get one person on one plane, as long as it has an incubation period, and it's game over.
That's exactly right. And when you're talking about bombs and artillery and things, those are heavy equipments. Those are expensive equipments. It's difficult to carry. It's difficult to transport. It's difficult to manage. They're not maneuverable. They're expensive, and there are some people who understand that a potential threat that it's much less expensive than that, and it's easier to do harm and to affect people, because that's, at the end of the day, someone who wants to use that is because they want to do harm to society. They found that it's a better way, a cheaper way, and a faster way to spread it. You just need a microorganism, whatever that is, a way to spread it, and you also need your vaccine and your antidote to protect your people. So I think it sounds familiar, just what we've been living for the last 29 months. I mean, I think this is a round of sparring to see potentially what can happen in the foreseeable, in the near future.
So do you think we're trading like light blows with China, or any nation, whatever nation?
Yeah, to be honest,
I'm speaking for, by the way, everybody, I'm speaking for Tommy Carrigan, not for Dr. Diaz. My conspiracy theories are mine and mine alone, not Dr. Diaz. He's an esteemed MD. I'm not. I'm going to talk about aliens and UFOs and conspiracy theories. Just full disclosure.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything about any country, but what I can say with my training as a global health and immigration doctor and immunologist and so on, is that definitely, this was just like you said it, Tommy. It was it was light gloves, just a round of sparring for the real fight. It's definitely, I cannot understand any other explanation for this. I just can't.
It's not total war.
One of the main purposes of bioterrorism is to cause fear, terror, disease, and death. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
We're living that right now.
Yeah, we're in like a weird Cold War almost. It's rapid vaccine development, using it to your advantage. I mean, but it doesn't seem to be all out war, right? If it was all out war, you'd vaccinate your entire country and then release Ebola, right? You would go for the full demolition. This seems to be a weird, almost like shadow boxing.
It is. At the end is well, let's see how society behaves. Let's see with this how everything is behaving. What will be the outcome? And at the end of the day, whoever is manipulating this and whoever is behind this, it's they're having a lot of fun.
Yeah,
they're seeing exactly what they were expecting, and in the wrong hands, this can be something very critical. And we're living that. Everything changed, Tommy. Everything, health changed, economy, diplomacy, politics, borders, the way you fly, the way you travel, the way you do it, everything changed. But we have learned great things. I think we're especially the awakened people, people who have been able to understand exactly what's going on and have been deliberating exactly and connecting the dots. I think, and we are a lot of them out there. We learned a lot. and we're ready for the next phase. It's just a matter that we cannot act on fear, but on faith. It's very important, that aspect. And obviously, everything will come with this, that we have to be more diligent with our health. We have to eat better. We have to do more exercise, more sunlight, more vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, more natural oriented kind of deal. So I think this will be like the new beginning, like a new beginning of humanity after this tremendous, tremendous aspect of life that we haven't seen it in 100 years.
That would be if we learn from this and move forward. That won't be the case if somebody threw the first punch and now someone's winding up for the second. Do you think we're going to see, again, just wild speculation, and no, not saying individual countries, but do you think we're going to see another thing break out like SARS-CoV-2? Something, would it be a genetically manipulated monkeypox, or I don't know, like strep throat, or just something that, because right, I mean, respiratory viruses aren't a new thing. But this one was very odd, and there are a lot of things about it that have people pointing to it saying it looks like it was created in a lab. Do you think we're going to see it again, or do we not see it again? Because this virus hurt every country. There's no one country that came out of it unscathed. Because if one country came out of it unscathed,
that will be suspicious.
We go, hey, exactly. What's that guy doing? Exactly. But everyone got hurt. So do we not see another one? But or are we in the age of just, this is the new war? The warfare is not hijacking planes. Is, one from missiles, one from nuclear, one from World War II, one from just outright invasion and attacks like Pearl Harbor, and then it went to nuclear posturing and proxy wars like the Cold War, and then we saw, we've seen 20 years of terrorism, car bombs and suicide bombers and hijacking planes. Is this the new? Are we just in the? Is this the most modern form of just global war, posturing with I don't know, just tailored molecular weapons?
It's a very interesting question, Tommy. And first of all, I would like to share with you and the audience that SARS-CoV-2, that we first heard about that back in December 19 of 2019 in Wuhan, China. And I go like this because obviously it was not the first case. It was way back before, but it was at least more public. It's a virus that it's part of the coronavirus family, that there's 7 viruses in that family. And we've been living with coronavirus for centuries and centuries and centuries. That's number one. Number two is that this SARS-CoV-2, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be here for many, many, many years. I don't know how many, but a lot. That's number two. Number three, when you go to the, let's say a kid starting at birth, when they give him a shot of hepatitis B, when they give him a shot of varicella, of polio, of MMR, and so on and so forth, those are diseases that are preventable for the vaccine. It's a principle, it's a basic principle of immunology. That's immunology 101. So having said that, is that once you are with a vaccine to prevent this communicable disease, you will never get that disease again. So in other words, I vaccinate my kid for varicella. He will never get varicella. Hepatitis B, never. Hepatitis A, never. And so on and so forth. MMR, anything you can imagine. DTaP, DTaP for diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. How can we think that with this virus and the vaccine that it was extremely rapid develop that usually takes from 12 years to 14 years to develop 4 phases of vaccines once they started. So, and they can go to the market. They did it in record time. They did it in record time. And I'm talking about like 9, at the most 10 months. And it's there. It's not preventing anybody to get COVID. It's not preventing anybody to go to the hospital. It's not preventing anybody to go to the ICU or even die. So what is the common variable here? So we need to understand that unfortunately we have, people have been misled, and we don't have more free thinking doctors, because at some point, most of doctors, they work for an institution for this, for here and there, and we have lost our principles in our Hippocratic oath that first do no harm, and I will not inject poison to anybody. That's what we swear when we became doctors on the Hippocratic oath. So this is a time of profound awakening of humanity, and understanding that we have to bring more values to our societies, to our homes, with our kids, with families. And we're living in a very difficult and cynical world.
Yeah. What you were saying about the vaccine development, how quick it was. On one hand, I'll try to play devil's advocate, be like, all right, it was like a war footing. Nobody knew what this was, so they're cranking this thing out immediately. It doesn't, maybe it's not that safe, but whatever. It's like, it's like World War II, we're building like 10,000 rifles a day. Yeah, some of them don't fire. Sorry, we're fighting the Germans. Like, it's just, okay, sure, maybe. But if it's not preventing contraction, if it's not preventing spreading, it's not preventing hospital visits or ICU visits, what, in your opinion, as the good doctor, what is it just a money grab? Is there something more nefarious? Is it just chaos, and any patterns we see are just our own mind? It's like seeing a shape in a cloud. It's just what you see. If you see a whale, it doesn't mean anything. It's just that's how the cloud looks. Is there something behind this? What do you think? And I don't want to, again, because I'll go way off on the rails, and I don't want to do that because you're the doctor. But if I can ask your opinion, what is it? What is the mad rush for vaccines still being used for variants that don't even exist anymore? What?
Tommy, you said it. You said some interesting points. Can you repeat at least 5 of those points? The one in the middle that you just said, because of this, and that, and then ask me the question again, please.
Oh, well, one, I said I didn't want to put words in your mouth because you're the good doctor and you're still a practicing physician. I don't want you to have to co-sign what I'm saying. If we developed it this quickly, could it just be, hey, we weren't, maybe the intelligence community. So number one, we developed it really quickly in 10 months. Could that be because the intelligence community comes out and this is something like 9/11 and they're like, we don't know what this is. We need you to make a vaccine immediately. If it's not 100% safe, maybe it kills 30,000 Americans, but if it saves 300 million, then we're going to do it. We're going to get rid of the normal phase 1, 2, 3, 4 trials because we have intelligence that says this is a bioweapon. So that's like the first. And that would kind of lead into the second. It doesn't even really work that well, but it's better to have something than nothing. Okay. Or number 3, is it just a money grab? Or number 4, is it part of something even larger? Is this part of a way to weaken the immune system of entire populations?
And my answer to that's why I ask you to repeat those, because they're very interesting. It's all of the above. All of the above.
Okay. Just
I don't find as a scientist, I don't find any other reason. At the end of the day, if this is a massive amount of money that that has been recollected from immunizations from the jab. It's a massive. We're talking about billions and billions and billions of dollars. That's from one aspect, one side of the coin. On the other side of the token, it's obviously a matter of control.
sure.
It's control.
Yeah, IDs, vaccine IDs, passports, movement of people. That's it's one of the hallmarks of a dictatorship.
So when you control a society, when you control a population, you will tell them what to do, what not to do, where to go, what to say, what not to say. You control the population, and everything gets based on fear. Everything gets based on fear. So when you have a population based on fear, they finally, and at the end of the day, they will be doing anything you want them to do.
Yeah. Do you give any credit to the idea that this is meant to cause mass infertility? That this isn't one nation sparring with another, but rather a top-down mechanism of control to get. I mean, you have Jane Goodall talking at the World Economic Forum the other day, saying how it would be really good if we got rid of about 90% of the population. I don't know if you saw that. She said it'd be really great if we had about 500 million people, not 7.5 billion. I mean, that's odd. Is there something they're ratcheting up climate change? They're ratcheting up. I mean, really, if you want, I'll put the tinfoil hat on. It does, in many ways, seem like they're just trying to eradicate a lot of people. Am I too conspiratorial? Am I being too cynical? Is it? Again, I don't want to put words in your mouth because you are the professional with many titles, and I don't want to drag you through the mud. But it seems like
it's been a while, Tommy, since I lost fear of telling the truth. It's been a while. It took me some time to develop this level of maturity and understanding. So I'm ready and able to tell the truth, the inconvenient truth. So definitely, I think that's exactly what happened. The agenda of reduction of the population has been there for 50 years. And, whoever is doing that, they've been kind of successful in different ways. So the last census of population in the world, it's estimated approximately with 8,000 million. 8,000 million people. The agenda, what they want to do, it's 500 million. That's it. That's it for the entire world. And if you look at the statistics of birth in the last 24 months in Europe, it's incredible. It's dropping. It's going in a very low and scary low of birth statistics in Europe specifically. So they don't have kids anymore. So it's part of that agenda, not only with the social aspects that we're living and experiencing, the lack of values, but also what's behind the pandemic. It's dropping the rates of birth at an increased rate. It's incredible what's going on. And like, for example, you were mentioning about, the benefit of the doubt, the benefit of the doubt of this tremendous pandemic, that it will affect the world and everything. We have to develop a vaccine immediately. We can do it. We have technology, we have this, we have that. I would ask you this, Tommy, and to the audience to think about it. We've been like 45 years with AIDS.
Yeah, how come we haven't?
And 30 million people have died, and many more have get infected with AIDS, with HIV. why they haven't been able to develop that vaccine for HIV. It's just a very simple question. It's a first grade question. It's very simple, and there's no answer.
Yeah.
It's HIV virus is not more complex than SARS-CoV-2. From the molecular biology standpoint, it's not more complex. Why they develop, whoever that was, why they developed the vaccine in record time for this virus that unfortunately 0.01% of the population died, and they did all this, and 500 million people got infected, and they did this in record time, but they don't do that for
AIDS,
HIV,
HHMA, yeah,
or tuberculosis, or
yeah.
malaria. Last year 1.5 million people died of tuberculosis. No one talks about tuberculosis. No one talks about the millions and millions of people getting infected of malaria. So it seems like the superstar, the main focus was on SARS-CoV-2, on coronavirus. What about the rest of the diseases? Because they occur in poor countries, and no one cares about those countries in Africa, Central Africa, Western Africa, the Philippines, Sri Lanka, Laos, Cambodia, and so on and so forth. Of course, the doctors, we care about people. Doctors, real doctors, free-thinking doctors, we care about humanity. We don't care if somebody is from New York or from Sri Lanka or from Buenos Aires or Mexico. We care about people. But we never hear about tuberculosis outbreaks in India. We never hear about tuberculosis outbreaks in Makati, Philippines, or Quezon City. It's a little bit of an unfair game from the healthcare standpoint.
It's kind of like the absurd hyper focus the world has on Russia and Ukraine. And not to make light of it, I mean, it's terrible. Not to make light of it. I have no opinion on either way. But like, what about like 2 million Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps in China? What about all the concentration camps in North Korea? What about the United States bombing weddings in Yemen? It's kind of weird that or Syria. It doesn't mean that Russia invading Ukraine isn't bad. Not at all. It is weird though that all of a sudden the global eye just zooms in on this one and it's like, what about all it can't help but make you feel like there's something you're not getting the full picture, or there's something behind it. Why?
You know how it's called, Tommy? The art of distraction.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on. And look what's going on with immigration, Tommy. It's incredible. It's insane. This is something that we haven't seen in decades, or probably in the history. I mean, this immigration aspect, everything that it's coming, all this flooding, people coming from all over the world through Mexico to the United States. It's incredible, and I am pro-immigration, pro-orderly immigration. Obviously, that's good for the world, not only for the US, not only for Mexico, but for the world. Societies and communities grow because of immigration at an orderly pace. But I'm talking about, they bring diseases. They bring several things that are challenges for public health, situations and for communities. So we have to strengthen our ability to screen for immigrants. Doctors specialize in immigration medicine who understand exactly the type of different diseases that they come from different countries. So this is why, plus the COVID and pandemic and everything, this is why we're starting to see all this emergent disease, this not new, but the emergent diseases. It is incredible.
it kind of, it's almost like volleyball or something. You know, when someone just kind of just pops it right up really lightly, and then someone else comes up flying behind it, spikes it with the hammer of God. Oops. Or like an alley oop in the NBA. Somebody just pops it, and then another guy grabs it and windmills it.
Exactly.
That's kind of what like COVID seems like 0.01% death rate. It's just this tiny little like, you're placing it right over the net.
Exactly.
And then Pfizer and the World Health Organization comes over and they're like, yeah, they pound it into the ground. And it's like, that was set up. That was, now what is the purpose? I mean, again, speaking for me, but like, I mean, they've been overpopulation, this, that forever. I mean, Henry Kissinger was talking about it in the 70s, wasn't it? I mean, Bill Gates has been talking about it as long back as I can remember, talking about
Exactly.
forever. The ice caps are going to be gone next year. And by the year 2000, New York's going to be underwater. Carbon footprint, humanity bad. We're growing, diseases. You have all this stuff going on. You can't help but go, and here's a thing. Now, if it is depopulation, I don't think they're outright going to inject something that just makes people drop dead. I think you'd have riots in the streets. I think they're probably much smarter. It's going to be something where 80% of people that get it can't successfully have kids. And it's a passive depopulation. You didn't kill anybody per se. You just can't have kids anymore. You know, it'd be like if the bar closes, if they last call is at 2 a.m., but the bar doesn't close till 3 a.m. I'm not going to come and take your drink from you. You just can't order anymore.
Exactly.
And so, like, that's how you, because if you just went and took everybody's drink, all the drunks are going to start yelling and throwing punches. Versus if you just say last call and you ring the bell. All right, you can do enjoy your drink. And then when it's over, you go, you're not mad. You're like, well, they did say it was last call. That's kind of what I think it is. And I mean, the motive is there. It's all that's talked about. It's just pounded down your face every day. Carbon footprint. Meat is bad. What you're doing, you're growing and growing and growing. And again, Henry Kissinger, the useless eaters. And then they're all talking about the 500 million. That's always been the number spouted. I mean, that was on the Georgia Guidestones forever. And then Jane Goodall said it at the World Economic Forum. I mean, it's so in your face. And it was all rolled out so uniformly. Just so uniformly.
Exactly. And totally, and within the same line of thinking, Tommy, and I do admire a lot Elon Musk.
Mhm.
I think he's a great guy. He's a fantastic person, and he's an extremely intelligent person. You know, the richest man in the planet
Sure.
ever.
Yeah.
But he's trying to explore Mars. He's trying to explore other. So it seems like the path is pretty obvious. We just need to put everything together, just connecting the dots. So if I had the opportunity to someday talk to him, I will ask him, Mr. Musk, I admire you. You're fantastic. Your IQ, it's above everybody else in the world, and you become with wonderful things. But don't you think that with all your power, your integrity, your capacity, wouldn't be fair to fix and try to help the problems we have here in-house than to be exploring something else? So why would you be trying to explore something else when your house is not fixed? First, let's try to fix our house, our home, and then we'll look for other places. But it just doesn't make sense. And we're looking at that every day, Tommy, every day.
I think it kind of does make sense though. If this guy is so smart, right? We're all admitting he's smart. 350 billion, guy ain't dumb. And he's going, we gotta go to Mars. And we're saying, how come we're not fixing the home? you can't help but think he's so smart. He's looking at the home and going, it can't be fixed. If the smartest guy is saying we got to get out of here,
Exactly.
maybe
Exactly.
you and I are dummies. We're going, let's fix Earth. He's going, you can't fix Earth. Maybe, or it's a two-pronged system. Depopulate the Earth. And if that still doesn't work with just the 500 million, let's make sure we have a secondary place ready. But if you did that, you'd go to the moon, not Mars.
Plus, Tommy, we have other pandemics. We have many pandemics.
Yeah.
Not only COVID, we have the hunger pandemic. There's people starving to death every single day in different countries. Central America, South America, Central Africa. There's kids dying every single day because of lack of food and resources and everything. And I think we're becoming a very meaningless society in terms of we have to care for each other. We have to bring more values. I'm pro values, pro family, pro life. This is a matter of bringing everybody together and try to understand that this is our home, this is our place. We used to have beautiful values. I had the amazing opportunity to talk to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
And I saw that. I'm very jealous. I've tried to get him on here several times.
And we'll get him. We'll get him on your show.
It's always been a maybe. It's been teasing me for like 8 months. I think I first contacted him last October. Like, maybe.
And I was very impressed having the opportunity to be talking to a person like himself. And he just wrote a book. Well, his book.
Yeah, The Real Anthony Fauci.
The Real Anthony Fauci, which is more than a book. I think it's a documentary. It's an amazing book. But he just wrote a new book that it's called American Values, Lessons I Learned from My Family. I think you're gonna love that. You're gonna love that book. And that's exactly what we've been losing those values, not only in the United States, but in Mexico, in everywhere, because we lost track of our path. We need to refine our path. We need to be pathfinders in order to one of the main goals in life is to be happy. Tommy, is one of the main goals, and it's free. It's free. We can achieve that happiness through being humans and being nice to each other, help the need, and just do no harm. But it's exactly the opposite what we're looking everywhere in the world. And I do get disappointed every day when I watch the news. When we have the capability, yes, humans, we have an absurd capability of destruction, but we also have an unparalleled capacity of love, to love people. And I think we're losing our objective. And my hope and my dream is that we awaken from this nightmare that we've been living in the last whatever years have been. But I know we can do it. We can do it with people like you, with people interested in this kind of values. I don't know what you think, Tommy, about that.
Do you think that this is almost like a global value vaccination? It's like we kind of have to let the world go to shit before you get a kick in your pants to be like, dude, we gotta do. I mean, we watched World War II. We did the Lend-Lease program. We were giving ships to Britain. You spending some cash here. We didn't really want anything to do with it. And then Japan came and beat the shit out of Pearl Harbor. And we were like, all right, let's, let's go do this. Sometimes you need that though, right? Sometimes you need to wake up one morning spectacularly hungover to go, I need to take a break from alcohol, right? Or you're smoking weed too much and you're like, I've been sitting on a couch eating Dominoes for the last week. I need to go for a run. Sometimes you have to kind of fall and you get that vaccination. It's a vaccination. You touch the fire so that you go, okay, let's stay away from it. You burn your finger so that you remember it's hot, so you don't accidentally just walk into a fire and burn your whole body. I can't, and maybe this is just the optimist in me. I can't help but think that everything that's going on right now, I don't think that it would be intentional, but it seems like we're kind of being walked towards a precipice of, I mean, I've been alive for 31 years, and it gradually seems like every year there's just this doom and gloom feeling. And whether it's 9/11 or '08 financial crash or 2020 riots and COVID and Russia and going into Ukraine, and is China going to move on Taiwan, and it just, we're kind of moving towards their censorship here, and you open the borders there, and vaccine mandates here, and you're printing $8 trillion. It almost seems like it's getting so bad to the point where that's the only way we'll ever change. Like, why else would I be having these conversations with you and Dr. Malone and I'm 31. I should be having conversations about like hot chicks, bars, and football. But instead, I'm talking to you, and I'm been banned from YouTube, and I'm just still firing away. Like, you really can't get anyone to care. I mean, the smoke is in your room, and you finally go, all right, I think the building's on fire. We got to get out. Like, maybe it's that. Maybe that's the only way to kind of kick us into overdrive is the world has to, because when everything's perfect, why, or seemingly perfect, at least acceptable, what's your incentive to change? I mean, sports are great, the economy is okay, McDonald's is $1. What do you care what's going on? Maybe it has to start to fall apart in front of your eyes before you do something. So that's kind of what so you asked Tommy, what do you think? That's kind of what I think is, I think that this is probably some, not designed, but some sort of like meta biosphere feedback system, probably some like global, I mean, just like, changing levels of O2 and CO2 and mountains rising. I think there's probably some, like populations of deer like balance itself. No one's controlling it. It's been going on for a million years, but they're just these natural feedback systems. I feel like there's some like psychological feedback system where it's, the vibration is rising so much that the whole world is starting, like, you can't ignore it anymore, and you can add more violence to it, or you can say like, we can't do this anymore. You just have to kind of start exuding love. That's what I think. It's probably some hyper complex global biosphere feedback system that, who knows, has probably happened before. Maybe it happened in like ancient Egypt. Maybe that's what led to the Renaissance. Maybe that's what led to the colonists coming over to the New World. But just like some boiling point that we can't understand, just like all the bacteria in my gut can't possibly understand, that I operate a podcast. They're just digesting molecules of food. They can't understand the complexities of the internet and relationships and getting in a car and building something. We are probably as, not dumb, but unable to understand whatever this complex thing is, just like a parakeet can't understand calculus. So that's my long answer to what I think it is. I think it's probably some natural feedback system that, if you zoomed out and each year was a second, would probably be very quickly. It'd be like dropping this and it bounces up. But it's like waves. Waves crash every couple seconds. But if you look at hills are waves. They're just made of rock, and it takes them millions. But if you fast forward it to millions of years, you'd see the land, you'd see mountains going like that. You'd be going, oh my God. But instead, it's just happening really slowly. I think we're in a very slow. We're watching slivers of a feedback. And maybe it doesn't take a year. Maybe this feedback system takes 10 years. Maybe in the year 2050, everything's great. And we'll look back and say, it all started in 2020. That's what I think it is. Based on nothing.
I think, Tommy, that you're absolutely right. It's, our planet, it's like the organism, it's like our body.
Yeah.
So we are, over 2 billion cells our organism has, 2 billion cells, and we're constantly renovating cells and renovating tissues and renovating systems. So that's the same example with cancer. We have the capability of get rid of cancer naturally. Cancer is basically an inflammation of some part, some tissue, some group of cells within our bodies that it's like rejecting, and it's like saying, there's something wrong. If you let this grow, you're going to die. And I think that's exactly the way you put it. That's exactly what we've been living in society for the last 50 years. And one of the things, and forgive me to keep saying this, but this is what I truly believe I'm a Christian, Tommy. I truly believe in Jesus Christ. And I got baptized at the Jordan River in Israel. I will tell you about that story on another podcast, but it was amazing, and it changed and it touched my spirit, my life. And so I really think that one of the big mistakes that as a society worldwide, that we have taken God out of the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
He's not important anymore. It's what we want, what we believe, what we desire. I mean, you talk to a kid in elementary school, in a teenage, in early stages of high school, and you will be surprised how they have been brainwashed right now. It really makes sick to my stomach the things that I've heard on a daily basis, the way that they're stuck with this. They're stuck with this, with the, full of massive information that they're just being brainwashed on every moment, every day. And obviously they're so young that they don't have the maturity and the capability to understand all that information. They've been feeding with this information. They're confused. They are confused, and they are the future doctors. They are the future lawyers and architects and judges and parents. So I really think that we are at a crossroad that we have to make smart decisions, Tommy. This is what I have in my heart, and I'm very thankful for you, a young man, intelligent, a brilliant guy like you. Give me the opportunity to express some of the ideas that I have and some of the things that I have in my heart. But I see, like, for example, I'm from Mexico. Mm-hmm. I was born and raised in Mexico, and so on and so forth. And I'm very sad of what's going on in Mexico. It's going, I don't know where. It seems that there's no path. We're living a civil war, a masked civil war that no one is talking about. But we've been living that for 25 years. And no one has been able to address that. And we don't understand why. And everything gets complex. And people is dying every day and killing and so many things. And because it's what we desire. It's what we have. It's what we want. So we are a cynical society. And we have to mature. We have to increase our spiritual level. Have more faith instead of fear, because those behaviors are just only based on fear. It's like a wild wolf. If he's based on fear, he will bite you and he will kill you. Mm-hmm. And this is how we are behaving. We've been manipulated by whoever that group or system is, and we're paying the consequences. We're paying those bills.
It does seem like, I mean, it's not an original thought, but it seems like there's always just so much effort to instill fear and division. I think it was Joe Rogan that said it in like 2015. And it was such a simple statement, but it's still kind of profound. He was like, isn't it weird how we've never had a president just call a press conference and be like, hey, just real quick, like, can everybody just try to be like really nice to each other? We've never had that. Never had a president be like, hey, listen, there's a complex world. Our military is out there, the intelligence community. It's a dangerous world. There are nuclear missiles and they're terrorists. That being said, hug your neighbor. Like, no one's ever, right? You don't, this podcast isn't going to get traction. You and I are talking about love and opportunity. What do people want to see? They want to see a shooting. They want to see a cartel in Mexico beheading someone. That's what you're like, yeah, that's what I want to see. Instead of being like, why don't we try to understand that everyone's going through a hard time, and just try your hardest to show even the tiniest smile. No one ever makes, if you do make a comment about that, you get laughed at. That seems to just be indicative of us. Like, I mean, how cool would it be if Biden just in his next thing signed off and he's like, by the way, like, love each other, life's short. Well, that might be bad. People might think that means nuclear war, but like, just something like, hey, just love each other. The world is so full of hate. Why don't you just love each other? Like, what if Biden just said that? Like, that would be even just something so tiny. Like, I mean, maybe I'm just being idyllic. I'm just being rose tinted, and the whole world is, I'm just living in a bubble because someone's not banging down my door and there aren't cartels in the streets. But like, I mean, I understand that, like, we are the warring ape. We are carbon-based life forms that seek to reproduce more than our neighbor and want to consume more resources than others. I get like the basics of the game. I understand the electromagnetic, the weak nuclear, strong nuclear, and the gravitational force. I get it. And we're bipedal organisms on a sphere. I understand the game. I get it. We're tubes, goes in, goes out. We reproduce. Got it. But like, it seems like no one's even making an effort to, like, it's like, sure, it's hard to learn how to die. Like, I grew up with a mom that made us eat healthy, and that's just instilled in me. So even at 31, there's always part of me that's just, I just know, like, no, go, you have the vegetable, eat this, drink water, not so, just basic little things. And then there are people that didn't grow up with that guidance, but they're still making an effort. You see them at the gym, and no, they're not where they want to be, but you're making an effort, versus like someone that just weighs like 800 pounds. And it's like, they're not even trying. Like, hey, dude, I get where you are. I know that it probably seems like you can't lose any weight, and it's very intimidating, but like, you could at least, I don't know, take one of those like hand things and do a workout. You're not even doing that. You're not even replacing the soda with water. Like,
you know what? You know why? And that's an interesting point. Very interesting point, Tommy. You know why? And I was talking about pandemics. We have different pandemics. One pandemic, it's obesity.
yeah.
It's incredible the amount of obese people in the world. And you know why they don't do that? Not even this, because there's lack of motivation. There's lack of motivation. If you motivate somebody, if you give them the specific why and how, and you provide them the tools, and you provide them the opportunity, and you talk to people. That's what I do every day on my practice. And I practice, Tommy, every day. I don't want to be just a doctor. I don't want to be just another doctor prescribing some medications and listening to their complaints. I want to be a health coach. I want to be a spiritual coach. An opportunity to have somebody sitting here and provide me with their either if it's a headache or allergies or so on and so forth, most of the time they have different origins. It's not why they're here. They come here to be listened. They come here for someone to be compassionate, to understand that there's not only 208 bones and 535 muscles and 4 chambers and 2 lungs and 2 kidneys and a liver. No, there's something more than that. So you're talking to the human being. Of course, you're going to try to help them to ease those problems and that inflammation and so on and so forth. But the perfect opportunity to increase the healing is when you listen to people, when you care for them, and you provide hope, and you give them tools. Many times I pray here with my patients, and even if it's the first time that I've seen them, but I feel the need, and they start crying, Tommy, like you cannot imagine. Like, doctor, this is the first time ever. I've been with doctors my entire life because of this chronic condition. So I never experienced what I just experienced here. And I told them, I don't know if I will see you again, but what I do know is that I just put a seed in your spirit, in your heart.
Yeah.
And that's one of our most important tasks as doctors, as physicians, to listen to our patients, to give them hope, to tell them that we are here for them, to help them. And like the Hippocratic Oath says, first, do no harm. Primum non nocere, originally written in Latin. And that's exactly what we have to do. And that's exactly the same with the pandemic and SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19 vaccines and Paxlovid and anything you can imagine under the sun. It's just a miscommunication, misleading of people.
So then it seems like the conclusion is it's kind of simple and it's not unique, but you and I can't sit here and bitch about how bad everything is you have to be the change you want to see in the world, right? That's not some unique statement. That's not a profound, that's so as old as time. But I mean, really, that's what you gotta do, is instead of just saying you're not even trying to lose weight, instead of saying that, I should say, hey man, you should start taking baby steps in the right direction, at the very least.
That's what I like your example of, how do you call this?
I don't know what that crunch. It's like that weird crunch thing. Yeah,
I have one of those actually. I have one of those, and you can start with this.
Yeah,
baby steps.
But even that, I should have said it differently. Instead of saying, "Why aren't you even doing this?" Should be, "Hey man, you can start as simple as this." Because if I'm just sitting here berating you, that's just gonna that's gonna be a negative Pavlovian condition. You're gonna be like, fuck this guy, just yelling at me. Instead, you should be like, hey, you should at least start with this. Do 1 today. Try to do 2 tomorrow. Just that. Yeah, so you just,
one of the things that and you're absolutely right, Tommy. One of the things that I systematically ask my patients is that, I care about things that they never been asked before. Like, how's your sleep? How's your family? How's your communication with your husband, your wife, your kids? Nobody asked them that. And they feel like, oh my God, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Why is he asking me
Why
this?
is he
Not only
showing
asking me, where's the headache? And when did it start? And it increases with this and decreases with that. And you have palpitations, you have this. Like, we are more than just a textbook. Yeah. We are human to human talking, trying to solve problems and give them hope.
Yeah.
So I live to that. And it's amazing, the recovery of somebody that is coming to see the doctor and you listen to them. Half half of the problem you're fixing or you're helping with by just listening and being kind.
Yeah.
It's incredible, Tommy. I've been experiencing this for many, many years.
Have you ever read House of God by Samuel Shem?
No, but I've heard it's
It's like
fantastic.
required reading to the guy. He wrote it in like 1970. The Harvard resident. It's like we can wrap it up. It's like a like required reading for like pre-med, like unrequired but required. I read it and it scared the hell out of me. But I mean, he talked, 100-hour work weeks. They're smoking meth in the bathrooms just to stay awake. They're having sex with nurses. It's crazy. But he talks about after 4 years of pre-med at Harvard and after 4 years at Harvard Med School, and now he's at Harvard residency with Mass General. He calls it the House of God. He never calls it Harvard Medical School. They call it Best Medical School. They don't call it Harvard undergrad. They call it Best undergrad. And, so they don't call it Mass General. They call it House of God. But he talks about finally after 4 years pre-med, 4 years med, however many years residence, he finally realized the single most effective thing was to do nothing and just listen to the patient. Not a thing. You tell me what's going on. All right. You write it down, give him an IV or some water, nothing. Just give him a Tylenol and just what's going on? It's an old woman with a urinary tract infection. How's your grandson doing? You go on. And he goes, and then I would leave and I would just do nothing unless it was pressing, like they were having a heart attack where it's okay, we got to take him to the ER.
Exactly.
He goes, because he kind of just turns into like a psychopath towards the end. He goes, I just stopped doing anything. He became like, he finished top of his class. He got all these honors from the chief of medicine.
What is the name of the book?
House of God by Samuel Shem.
I'm gonna get it today.
Shem. Dude,
By who?
Samuel Shem. Shem. That's his pen name. I think his real name's like Nick Berg or something. But he's this man. Dude, it is the most raunchy, drug-filled, sex-filled, vulgar. He eventually becomes a psychiatrist because he realized that he's like, if the only thing that worked was to do nothing, then why not just sit there and listen to people? It's so, because at the end, he gets the highest marks. The chief of medicine comes to him and he's like, you're going to treat our VIP patients now. And he's just like, his friends are like, what's the trick? He's like, I don't do anything. I just ask them how they're doing. I give them some glucose. Nothing.
Of course.
They're cured of their cancers. Their urinary, they all go away. They sleep well. How's the grandson doing? How's the husband doing? How's your sister? That's wonderful. It is crazy weather we're having. You're going to be all right. Doesn't hook them up with shit. Doesn't give them any medications. And like reality, he should be sued for malpractice, but like he had the best, he had the best outcome. He had the best outcome. And at
the end, that's exactly what really matters.
Yeah. But he just listened to people. He was like, yeah, what's going, unless if it was like a pressing thing, like a heart attack, he was just, what's going on? Yeah, sure. That's kind of really all people needed. Now, that's not to say don't practice medicine, but like, you need to read it, man. Get it on Audible or something.
I will. I already have it. I have it right on, and I'm gonna order this book because you really bring my, got my attention, because that's the way that I practice medicine.
Yeah, I brought it up at every med school interview I was at. I was like, and did you guys read House of God? And you'd see them all look at you and kind of smile and be like, maybe, because they don't want to scare you off. Yeah. Whenever I go to the doctor, I always ask them as they're leaving. I'll be like, "Did you read House of God?" And they'll all smile and be like, "Yeah." And it's like, yeah. And it's like the black book of medicine. It's like what you don't learn in undergrad, but it's it's a great book. And
thank you so much, Tommy. Thank you.
With that, Dr. Diaz, let's wrap this one up, man. I kept you 20 minutes longer than I said I would, and I would love to have you on again sometime.
Definitely. It's always a pleasure, Tommy. I learn a lot from you. I'm very honored to be on your show. And thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Dr. Diaz, as always. I love you, my brother.
Love you, my brother.
Brother from another mother. Stay safe, everybody, and love each other. Just do so. At least try. Do the hand crunch. At least smile at somebody. And if the world still goes to shit, well, at least you tried.
Exactly.
That's all I
exactly
got.
right.
Just smile. Wave
Beautiful.
at someone. That's it.
Beautiful.
Thank you, sir. Stay safe, everybody. God